from a Chinese medicine perspective, they would say the universe would never give us a problem if we don't have the potential to cope. The universe would never give us a situation if we don't have the ability to grow from. So it's almost like the situation that we're facing is like what a martial artist would look at, is that COVID, the virus, is it's a threat, but it tries to invade the body, and we need to fight against it. So in order to fight against it, we will get stronger. So it's like a battlefield right now, and we need to look at life. We are at war, but the war is a little bit tricky because it's not only COVID, the virus, it's also the government, and it's also big pharma, and it's also people who buy into a belief pattern that are definitely based on some sort of like development from dogmatic from politics and big business. So, so the enemy is not really direct. Yeah. Personally, I'm not worried about COVID because I know what to do, but I'm more worried about what the government is going to do.
I'm curious there, because you said in 40 years you haven't ever seen anything like this, and with your patients and with people that you're talking to. So we talked about cracks showing, big cracks showing, mental health issues been going through the roof. I'm curious why. I mean, there's a few ways to approach this question. You know, what is it about the approach? What is it about that? You know, the virus, the pharmaceutical companies, the media. Why are so many people? Let's say if no one has a challenge that you know, maybe you don't get through it, but you do have the potential if you make the right choices to get through this challenge. Why are people stumbling more than ever? What's tripping them up that's leading to so much mental disharmony? And how are people going to get back into a flow and meet this battle in staying mentally healthy?
The primary reason is people's core is deficient and weak as never been before. So from a Chinese medicine perspective, people's blood and Qi level is at an all-time low. So that's as a result of having lived a life in comfort, too much in comfort, the life of not needing to work as hard physically, instead to hand over to the computer to do the work. So means getting up and sitting down and straight letting all the work done mentally and via the computer without engaging bodily function, which would produce blood. Blood production is vital in Chinese medicine because that's your fuel, that's your elixir, that's your life. If your blood is strong, you got passion, you got drive, you want to express yourself, and you feel strong. This is the most important thing. If the blood is healthy, your Jing is healthy, you feel strong. If your blood is deficient and your blood is unhealthy, you feel weak. You know. So of course, when you feel weak, you need to be protected. You got the instinct, I need to get protected. And so over the last 10 years, society has depleted their blood, their Jing and their Qi, and therefore progressively year after year, feeling more and more weak. And so people are actually starting to reach the point now where they feel weak just by getting up. And all day they feel weak. And having observed people for 40 years, I must say this year is probably the highest number of weak people I've ever seen. You know, I do regular workplace wellness talks. So I go to companies and I talk about health measurements. And the last few weeks, the talks I've been doing, in particular last week, I was talking to a company and there were 60 people in the audience. I've never seen so many weak people in one spot. I'm not judgmental, but I'm observing. And I know what to look for. I know the signs of when blood is deficient. I know what to look for when the Jing is deficient. And I look at the face, I look at the way they hold the posture, the body, and I can see, my God, these bodies aren't producing enough blood, not producing enough Jing. If they don't produce enough blood and Jing, your self-awareness is tempered by your psychological self-profile of being, I am weak. So if I feel weak, I am prone to accept the protection from a higher instances. So that's why the government obviously now is doing all these fear mongering in order to trigger that weakness. And then obviously people, oh, I need to get protected. I need to get protected. If they would have done the same thing, like 2,000 years ago to a village at the Vikings, they would have had a problem. They would have got up and put the sword up and get the fuck out of here. You don't fuck with us. Yeah. And but if I feel weak and the fear comes in, obviously I defeat myself. Yeah. So obviously that's in all ancient cultures, the most important thing is always nourish your essence, always nourish the treasures, the Jing, the Qi, the Shen, because that gives you the feeling of being strong. If you feel strong, you will ward off enemy. You will ward, if someone tries to invade the village, you are ready to attack. You are ready to fight. Yeah. And obviously you could, people would say it was done deliberate, whatever it is. Over the last 10 years, the lifestyle has led to a high level of lifestyle disease as never before. So we're looking at an enormous number of people dying because of lifestyle disease. But fundamental to lifestyle disease is the deficiency in the vital forces. And that is really the real problem.
I mean, when you talk about weakness, I can't help but just bring up in my terminology like a weak mind. And as we know, the blood is like transporting the Shen, and our mental acuity to the rest of the body. And I do seldom bring up the term weak mind, because I know that people will think what I'm saying is, if you go and trust the government, you have a weak mind, or if you go and do ABC, you have a weak mind. But it's not that. It's what you've nailed it. It'd be like you've bought into the fear, and you've got a weakness within yourself that you're not self-generating, and you can topple over. And so you reach for a higher power, an institution, to tell you what to do. So it's not about, I always feel like, there's people listening to this that are choosing one road or the other road. I know people that are beautifully with a strong mind choosing to do medical interventions. And I know other people that are just freaking out with a weak mind and choosing to do that same thing. And there's a very big difference there. I love the way that you describe that, man.
Yeah. The mind in Chinese medicine is affiliated with the substance. Mm-hmm. So, and that is obviously, once again, connected to an organ. So when we talk strong mind, we don't really talk strong mind. We talk strong organ, strong blood, which then means you have a strong mind. It's like, in order to experience power, you need a strong engine. Yeah. And so the body-mind connection is obviously always number one in Chinese medicine.